Hey Shubham, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, Shubham, that reminds me, there may or may not be an announcement you'd like to make on today's call.
Related to like announcement.
To related to the culmination of your internship.
Okay. Okay. I can make it.
Nice, good, good, good.
Thanks.
Hi Lee, how are you?
Hey, good morning. I'm good.
Hi, happy Friday. Nice to see CNCF shared.
Hey, somebody's gotta, yeah, to occasionally represent. Um, it's somewhat intentional today because, well, I'll talk about it on the call. Actually, there's a reason. There's a reason for the shirt.
Getting ready for EU CNCF con.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Turns out today is the deadline for a few different things, including some KubeCon stuff. So we'll talk about KubeCon a little bit. Um, Good morning. Yeah. How is everyone? How's everyone else?
Yeah, it's been good.
Dhruv, you have a lot less stress in your voice. I'm not sure why that is. Okay.
Is it a good thing? Can you hear me? Or that
Yeah.
was that a tone?
Yeah, that was a poor attempt at humor, considering considering that exams are over.
Yeah,
Nice. Well,
your
so
voice is the exact opposite right now.
yeah, yeah. Too many conversations happening. Um, nice. I guess. Well, how do you feel about the exams? Uh,
Yeah, great. They went great. At least from my point.
yeah. All right. Well, we are 4 minutes after. Um, oh no, I just lost my mouse. We're having Bluetooth issues at my place. There's some, I don't know what the issues are actually. Okay, good deal. There's a link to the meeting minutes in the chat. Let's get going. It's July 31st, Friday. Welcome everybody. Reminder, we record our calls, post them on YouTube. And there's a link to the meeting minutes in our chat. Wow, just 3 hours left to file on GSOC evaluations. Damn it. Why do they send out GSOC evaluations 2 days before they're due and then send you 15 reminder emails? Or I guess it's only one reminder email, and then have them due at 1 p.m. Pacific on a Friday. That doesn't make any sense. And it's frustrating because I've got back-to-back meetings between now and then. All right, well, good. Anyway, that was a small rant from me. We've got a couple of Google Summer of Code interns in the community, and we've got the second evaluation of some of their work due today. Some of their work is going to be discussed at KubeCon. We'll talk about that. Community Bridge. There's one of us is participating in Community Bridge here. and it too has an evaluation due soon. I don't believe that that's today, but these are top of mind because yeah, they're due very in the next couple of hours. Speaking of internships and internships culminating, Shubham, are you about wrapped up with your internship at Red Hat?
Uh, no, like I will have to continue my 6 month period of internship. So that will be ending on 31st of August. So, and after that, I will continue as a full time.
Wait. What was that last part?
So I will be joining Vedat as a full time from 1st of September. So,
That is fantastic. It just feels good to hear you say it multiple times.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, credit goes to like Mesri and you. Like
No, man,
introduction to open source started from here only.
yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful story. Congratulations. That's a great company to well, just the sort of the culture that we have here really, I think, lines up pretty well with Red Hat's culture.
Yeah, exactly. Complete open source.
I mean, wow, okay. Well, obviously you're doing good work. They're bringing you in full time.
Thanks.
Man, yeah, okay. I got to tell you, this is a true statement. There are maybe 150 people that I know at Red Hat, and like 148 of them are quite bright, honest, and open. Like they're genuine individuals. Like just Red Hat's HR does, and their talent acquisition does an amazing job, I think, really. And I don't always give a lot of compliments, but that's true. Like that's I'm pumped for you, Suma. That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Bring some more.
I can say that like generally people are very kind and like helpful. So yeah, like we are here in a community. So yeah, like that.
It makes a massive difference. It actually makes things very productive when engineers freely share with one another. Everyone tends to grow. Say more, if you would,
Yeah.
about your forthgoing focus, kind of the area that you're focused on.
So currently I'm contributing in Rook, or I can say I'm working on Rook. So yeah, basically Rook is similar to Mesri, what Mesri uses like Kubernetes and Golang as a backend and all the operators. So basically I'm concentrating mainly on operators. So yeah, Rook, OpenShift and OCP, you can say OCS.
Awesome. Full-time role. You have exceeded my expectations. I'm so stoked. It's so cool.
I'm glad I did that.
All right. Okay. No pressure. No pressure for the other interns, I guess. Jeez. Man. Fair enough. Okay. Well, moving into topics. One today is about KubeCon EU. We talked about it last week some. The fact that Nitish Malhotra in the community is speaking there. He's speaking on Istio. Some very relevant topics. A stronger model for multi-tenancy of Kubernetes workloads, mesh in a mesh. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing. I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let me stop. I get a chuckle out of mesh in a mesh. That sounds, well, it sounds like he's in the right community. So if you, I think Nitish, by the way, has a standing conflict with the community call. So if you see him, be sure to, prod him about his talk. It's really something to go speak at KubeCon. It's pretty cool. And it's being done virtually this year. And so the nice thing is that we generally have fairly good representation at KubeCon, at DockerCon, and the like. And one of those others that are representing the community is Pratik Sahu. Some of you know Pratik. I know Subham does, for sure. Pratik's a graduate student doing his
Yeah.
PhD studies at UT Austin here in town. So he's been part of the community for quite some time, and he's finally showing off some of his research. So he and I recorded a call a little bit a few days ago, and the deck for that is here if you're interested in that topic. There's a second, there's another KubeCon talk that we as a community are involved in, and it's this one. It's I think we've talked about the notion that we're involved in the special interest group, the network special interest group, SIG network inside the CNCF. And so this talk is about, it's a general update on things that SIG network are doing. And this is the deck for that talk. This deck is, I mean, all of the decks are worth looking at. This one is pretty short. And the only reason that I'm pulling it up is because it highlights work from Naveen and Kanishkar on the SMI interface, and it's the conformance tooling that they're doing that they had demoed a couple of weeks ago. It highlights ongoing work that Kush Trivedi is doing and is now fairly actively engaging with Envoy maintainers and the creators of Nighthawk, their load generator. And so he's making strides here. So we talk about that. And lastly, we talk about an effort that has been in the winds for some time and is finally getting some, well, I don't know, getting propped up a bit better. And so, Shruti, do you want to speak to how it is that we've been trying to make this a bit more official, this spec?
Yeah, sure. So we have a brand new website for the SMPS project, a brand new logo, and a brand new domain name. The link is included in the meeting minutes. Please do go check it out. We're still working on the design layout of the site, so any recommendation or advice would be great. That's it.
Nice. So SMP spec.io. Okay. Very good. Yeah. To any feedback for Shruti? To take a look over the page. Actually, for some of you who are hungry for some bite-sized contributions, I think, Shruti, you think you're tracking quite a few items that you're looking to improve here.
Oh yes, anybody interested to contribute or just have some time to spend, please do contact me. I'll hand out small jobs to you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But anyway, on that particular topic, I know some of you are maintainers of this effort, and some of you are familiar with it while others aren't. Maybe I'll just speak for me and say that efforts like these are always, well, I always scratch my head at them a little bit because things like a standard or things like a specification are abstract in nature, and that means that I always have a harder time, wrestling with an understanding of them. The really cool thing about this forthcoming, I shouldn't say forthcoming, but this specification is that we have an implementation of it in Meshery today. And as we go to work with HashiCorp and Google and Buoyant and Kong, and there's just each of the service meshes, all of them have expressed earnest interest in participating here and in being well represented here. And so I expect that this will be Pretty well received. I expect that we will more than likely make a bit of noise about this at KubeCon EU. Hopefully a press release. We will see. Any comments or questions? Does anyone? Does anyone want a run through of this? We could do it another time. Okay. Very good. That's SMPS, new site. One other thing that's probably worth noting. Shriti, we're beginning to be social a little bit. We really haven't done any announcements or really pointed anyone to the site, but we have this. So I'll put it. So anyway, just I guess it speaks for itself. But there's because it's its own initiative, it comes with its own Twitter handle. So more to talk about. It's good. More things that are coming out of the community. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, I guess maybe one last question from me on this topic. I hadn't really thought about asking this, but when you take a look at the logo, and I guess when you just glance at it, how do I ask this in a non-leading way? Well, there's no way to ask it without leading the question, I guess. Anyway, the logo was intentionally designed to try to tie in a little bit to the theme, if you will, of our other projects. So a little bit of some similar design elements, the colors, and the lettering. Is that obvious to anyone? Is it too obvious or maybe not obvious enough? I'm gonna start calling out names. See, this is the thing. Go ahead.
Oh, maybe we can the logo seems a little bit tiny. I can say we can change that. But yeah, anyway, in respect to others logo that we have in Mesri, it seems similar to that, but I think we can improve the logos. Because the background of that is a little bit vacant, I can say something missing, I can say very less. So what I can say.
That's to recharacterize that a little bit, or to add to that, I have a concern there as well, that it's two things. One, when it goes to be presented in a square, which oftentimes logos are, it is horizontal in nature, at least in this particular design, which means that when it gets put into a square, it's fairly small because it's a bit more horizontal than it is tall. Makes it harder to recognize, harder to see. It may be that just thinking aloud, it may be that the placement here is, so this is still much wider than it is tall. If the text went down below, that might add to some height, and it might make the text a bit more, easier to read. So I know everyone has comments on UI things, so take a look at them. I think I'll drop a link to where the original artwork is, in case maybe someone wants to fiddle.
And I think we can add some more blocks in the blog section of that page. Maybe.
More blog posts on. Oh, very good. Hard to disagree with that. Nice. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Good. It's an exciting topic. It's a new, it's an old project, but it's one that we're about to launch. Nice. All right. Next topic. Kush, I think this is yours. Oh, Kush is having microphone issues. Let me imagine that I'm Kush right now, and I'm speaking to you from Kush's voice. Unfortunately, I can't really poke any fun at Kush because he doesn't give the usual enthusiastic head bob. He doesn't. But anyway, again, another bad joke. So Kush was pointing out earlier this week that he gets particularly excited, and although not more excited than I do, when someone stars one of the projects, one of the GitHub projects. I'm sorry, one of the repos on GitHub. And almost all of you are aware that, like it or not, GitHub stars are really important to the projects. It's how people, intrinsically evaluate whether or not they think a tool is worth using. It's also explicitly how the CNCF will measure the validity of a tool, or they will set, it's not just the CNCF, but it's the Linux Foundation as well. It's things like Meshery participating in Community Bridge, for example, which in some respects, Layer5 already does, because the work that we've already talked about that we do in the Community Bridge, but Meshery as explicitly as a project, like in order for it to apply as a project, it has to have a certain number of GitHub stars. And so these are hard-earned stars, I will say. And whether or not they're a true indication as to the usefulness or validity of a given project or not, they are absolutely a measure that people use for any number of things. And so welcome to the last 4 folks who just joined, which is kind of funny because I think all of you guys joined right at the right. The reason I'm bringing this up is just, hey, Nuno, you weren't hanging out in a different, you guys weren't on a different call by chance, right? Like there wasn't some.
Hi, everyone. I just arrived. Sorry.
Hey, Nuno. Hey, Nuno, really quick. Thank you for coming, Nuno. You weren't stuck on a different call, were you?
Work call, but
okay, okay, cool. No, thanks. Sorry, I was asking because about 4 new folks came on right at the same moment, and I thought, oh no, maybe you guys were all waiting for us on a different call, and so we. Okay.
No.
Go. Okay. All right.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I had a thing like Pratyay Banerjee has just joined us. You would be knowing him as Neil. He had opened a few issues. So
yeah,
if you could introduce.
Mr. Blaze, that's how I know about.
Yeah. Hello.
Well, hello. Well, yeah, Mr. Banerjee, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, I'm a sophomore doing computer science engineering from Kolkata, India, and I'm happy here to contribute to the community of Layer5.
Nice. Yeah, very good. Very good. Thanks for coming. I gotta say, folks like Ruth and Kaleche and Chassis, Peace. There are some other recent newcomers as well. All of you, including Pratya, are starting to set a new trend that each of you are landing pull requests before you even get into your first community call. which is pretty fantastic. I got to say that's inverted from the way that it used to be. It used to be that folks would kind of come, check things out, look around, and eventually land a PR. But people are getting faster. It's great. It's nice to have you. Thank you for coming. Okay, to be shorter winded about this, if you a request, I think for everyone is one, if you haven't starred your favorite project in the community, or if you haven't starred all of the projects in the community, please do, because announcements like the one that we recently made about Meshri landing in the CNCF landscape, we had wanted for this for a long time, and a gating requirement for Meshri to land inside of this landscape is a certain number of stars. It was 300 actually. And so in a very real way, the stars matter. So star your favorite Layer 5 project. Tell your friends to star their project. That would be super helpful. Please do. There's probably a prize for the individual that brings in the most stars. Now that I said that, like, absolutely hold me to it. I will do any number of things. It's amazing what I will do for stars. In the past, I've sent out books and signed one or two. Not very many, but that reminds me something just on a personal note for me. I got this in the mail this week, which is I think it's kind of cool. I didn't know that was something that, I don't know if that's a new thing at O'Reilly or not.
I received a book from you, signed by you. I, Nikhil, and Anantya.
I tell you, I love nothing more than to put a meshy joke inside of a sign.
Yeah, long time back. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Anyway, that was half of what Kush was wanting to call out today. Was please go star your the projects. Also, if spread that love around, if you would, to others. I think the second part of what Kush was potentially going to suggest and maybe ask for community feedback on was, as people get introduced through the newcomers welcome guide, or as they fill in their community member form or somewhere, that perhaps it's an appropriate place to ask for a star. And Ruth, I'm going to call on you because I know that this is something that you give consideration to. Do you, understanding that stars are important and we want to solicit as many as we can in the newcomers guide, you feel like that would be something good to have?
Add it on the document.
What do you think about that? Is that
Yeah, that's cool. I think I saw it on the welcome guide, starring the project. I think it's on the welcome guide.
Oh, okay.
I think I've come across that before. I think I have on the welcome guide. Let me check it now.
Yeah, you're right.
Let me check it.
If you think about it, maybe, I think Kush wanted to raise up this topic and maybe solicit ideas from you and from the community, from everyone.
Oh, we could put out a template or add it to the bot message to once someone comes into the Slack channel, there's like a bot message to tell them, okay, please kindly start the repositories on the Layer 5 organization. So just like either do it manually or an automated process. So once anyone comes into the Slack channel, I think that would be cool.
Well, Ruth, Kush is having audio issues, but I can imagine that he's got a big fat cheese-eating grin on his face right now. That in the past he has suggested, I think that they're easy to run scripts, maybe like a booklet or something similar that let people quickly star a bunch of repositories. So I think your suggestion is making his day. Making the starring of repos. The other thing that this would be like in the Greet bot potentially. And Ruth, there may, you think about it. We don't want to, ask people to do it, too much. But I wonder, is it appropriate? Would it feel good? Should we mention this inside of the issue templates that, like one or more of the issue templates that you've been working on?
Yeah, if you look at it one way, like you said, it might be like imposing them to do it, but I don't actually look at it that way. It's just like it's not it would put the message in a way. It's not a prerequisite for anything. It's just please kindly do this. So it's not like a prerequisite. You can choose with a kind message. The person reading it can choose not to or to do it. So it's just based on individual. Just drop a kind message there and allow the individual do what they want. But with the structure of the message, I believe any individual reading it will be prompted to give a star. Yeah.
I think you've got a good grasp of it. That makes a lot of sense to me. If you would, given your familiarity with the issue templates, the GitHub issue templates.
Yeah, I also want to ask a question on that. So the pull request I made, I think maybe I misunderstood the solution to it. So I think someone pointed out that the issue was supposed to be creating a new template for layer 5 ng. I don't know if you could kindly look at the request and the comments on it. Yeah, so you get what I'm saying. There's some comments on the pull request.
Totally. I thought I was sharing the screen the whole time again. Can't tell you how often that happens.
Oh, sorry.
No, very good. So here's your pull request. Yeah, if we go look at the original issue, add new issue template for the Layer 5 NG site. I think in some respects that simple and short phrasing is accurate and also slightly misleading, in so much as today there are issue templates in that branch. It's just that those issue templates could use with some updating, because part of where they link to is it's going to point to the wrong
I think I get the point now. I was supposed to switch to the other branch to access those files. I think I did this edit on the master branch.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Do you get my point?
You're right.
Sorry.
You're right. And you know what, Ruth, I actually, boy, now there's actually we should probably catch up on this a little bit, and actually, let me ask, Nikhil, is Nikhil on the phone? Or, Shriti, this might be one that you could jump into chat with Ruth about, because it is confusing. So Ruth is saying the right thing about, hey, we want to update the layer 5 NG branch. The challenging thing is that when we do move from the layer 5 NG branch eventually and consolidate everything into master, when we eventually switch sites, well, then this link will be out of date at that point. And so I guess, Ruth, what's actually the most important aspect of updating the issue templates is the timeless thing will be this description, because that changes and gets somewhat specific to Gatsby, to React, as versus, yeah, this, I don't know if you can get it right now, because kind of either way you do it, it's going to change. But you're right. Overall, the intention is to merge that into layer 5 NG branch. Good. Okay.
Okay, so I'll just have a chat with Shriti about it.
Sure, we'll look into it.
Okay, so then I dropped a second issue. So when we can look at it when we get to that. I think that I'm the last person.
Okay. Well, I think we will get to it, I think.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, good. The next one, I don't know if Taiguan is on. I don't know that he is. Nope.
He's not.
All right. Some of you may have seen that he recently joined the community and ported all of the WASM filters that we have written in Rust. He ported them over to C++. So Taegung is a PhD candidate at Carnegie Mellon in New York, and is active in this area of technology and doing some studies. And so it'd be nice to, we'll try to have him on the call to talk about some of his work. I think it would be really good. Next, we need discussion on this one. Shubham, do you want to talk us through this one? And so, Shubham, hopefully you might be having audio issues. So I'll say, on this issue, thanks for bringing it up. Some verbal feedback is, this looks pretty good. This looks fairly spot on. There's one item right here where we need to change the verbiage of this log, of this message. The rest, I think, in principle looks good. All we want to do is invoke existing operations, stopping it and starting it, which means that conceptually, I don't know that any changes are needed in start.go or stop.go. They could be, but it is a little bit of a cause for alarm for me. I understand that we do need to introduce a reset flag, so that makes sense. And so you may need to put some conditional logic in there. Honestly, actually, I don't know why you would need conditional logic in these other two. You're just invoking them as is. Yeah. Hopefully, Shubham, you can hear that. Does anyone else have comment on this?
I think Shubham left by 9, as he said he had some work.
Oh, I see. Okay. Does anyone get what I was just saying and want to follow up with Shubham on that?
Someone
Yeah. Any takers there?
I think Shubham wants to.
Okay, he stepped out. Yeah. Kush, would you mind providing Shubham with that feedback? And I'll spend the time doing the GSOC evaluation. We'll trade. The feedback is he probably doesn't need a reset flag. So he doesn't need to change start.go or stop.go. I don't believe. Maybe. All right, next topic up is mesh sync v1.0. So mesh sync, and by the way, Nuno and Tinkai, we talked a little bit earlier in the meeting about SMPS. I'd go back and check that out if I were you, or I recommend checking it out. I mention it because we're also going to release we're also getting traction on another project called Mesh Sync. And right now you can see it inside of our Layer5 repo. It's under the Meshery operator repo. And Mesh Sync is an enabling capability. It enables a couple of use cases. It enables a policy engine, a workflow engine, and those are two things that we've yet to work on. It also enables a visual topology. And many of you have probably heard me talk to the importance of a visual topology for a long, long time. Thankfully, there's a few of you in the community who are taking a look at that effort and getting it underway. And it's because Mesh Sync, it's because Mesh Sync has begun to get underway that the visual topology project can be underway. And so, Anirudh, do you want to, I don't know if you want to show any of your screenshots or the brief recording that you'd done. But this would be a good time so that people can see what it looks like. And I'm calling out Anirudh and he's not here. Wow, I keep picking on everyone who's not here. Yeah, so let me introduce this real briefly. And I don't believe that this will be taking anyone's thunder because it's such an early thing. Inside the Meshery team drive, if you navigate to the functional and architecture design folder, there's a folder called visual topology. And I'm gonna share that with you. So it's a folder called visual topology. The gist of what we're attempting to do here with this project is to bring forth something not dissimilar from this. This is an old product that I had a former team create. This is focused on Docker containers. This is any number of years old now. Coincidentally, this project also did performance testing. And it's truly just a coincidence that this is the case. It is not a coincidence that a visual interface is really helpful to people, really helpful. And so it's not a coincidence that we should have something similar in Meshery. And we have talked about this for a long time. There's another well-to-do project that I've been tracking for the last about 3 years now, mostly created by Red Hat. It's called Kiali. It has gotten some things right, and I'm hopeful that we'll have a project that does that even better. And so Anirudh and Vineeth, and hopefully now Dhruv, perhaps Shivai, and others are going to come to bear on this. This is an early screenshot of like what that might look like standing by itself. This is another screenshot of what that would look like to provide a context menu, which is something that we want to do. If you're looking at, if what we're representing here are services that Meshery is helping a service mesh manage, we would each of these nodes would represent a service. You could click to interact with the service and then bring up a context menu here to take action on it. And so here's just a screenshot of like 4 actions. Here's a screenshot of what that begins to look like as it becomes embedded into Meshery. You've got some interactivity here on this visual topology. And you're able to then click and maybe do context sensitive actions on that particular service. And there's a small recorded demo that I'll try to show you here of, I know that this can, let me blow this up a little bit. What you'll end up seeing is some interaction on someone clicking here, and it goes pretty fast, but basically what happens is the user will identify a service that they want to interact with. They're just called nodes right now, but they'll click and hold, or click on it, and see that they can take maybe a couple of different actions. One of the ones that we'd like to enable is the performance test. So instead of having to navigate to the form-based interaction that you would normally do, we can bring that form-based interaction right into this visual interface and let people invoke a performance test from here. There is a massively long roadmap for what to be done in this project, but it's a good one to share and talk about. So there's 2 things here. When we talk about a visual topology, which at some point will have a much catchier name, that this is what we're talking about. When we talk about mesh sync, that is a project that enables the visual topology. In order for Meshery to get a bunch of information about the services and the service meshes and the control planes and things that it's managing, it needs to be fed that information. This project, called the Meshery operator, it's intended to do just that. It's intended to help Meshery synchronize between Kubernetes and service meshes and Meshery itself. It's called the Meshery operator because it's intended to do more than that. The first thing that's being built for it, though, is mesh sync. Is just the ability to look at a Kubernetes environment, pull in a bunch of data, and then we need to visualize that and provide an interaction. And so for better or worse, this is the logo to go there. So this is the mesh sync logo. And then in context of the Meshery operator, mesh sync, like to give a metaphorical description of mesh sync, it's something of it's extraordinarily important to any management software to have that type of capability. So it becomes something of the heart of Meshery, and it ends up pumping a lot of data into other components of Meshery. There's a graphical view of what those other components are. One of them is a visual topology that we just looked at. And the other 2 I won't describe, because I think I just described like 3 new things just now. But suffice to say, this Meshery operator and mesh sync, quite important. I'll pause there in case people have comments.
Oh, looks good. I like that. And visualization always help, like understanding also when we start learning anyway, what goes around actually. Just quickly, by nodes, so you said like it's really services behind, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, because we could maybe see, okay, it's endpoints, so it's not the real nodes, or it's not a physical topology at the end of the day. It's really still service mesh topology. I know it was just a demo, but maybe picking just a better term even for demos might help.
Totally. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's good feedback. To speak to the other part of what you're saying is that it is quite likely that we will give people the ability to look at nodes, to look at to understand where various endpoints, where various services are, sort of physically. I put that in quotes because there's so much virtual stuff going on, but physically, on what node is that service, and between what nodes and what clusters is this looking at? The intention isn't to be a me too, if you will. The intention isn't to do the same things as a rancher might do, or any number of other projects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the intention is to, it's good context that there's a node there, and that might be important as you're trying to perform a particular task. But the tasks that are going to be first class and that we're going to lean into are mesh specific, and so to the extent that this overlaps with some other projects, that's just a side effect of trying to empower people to achieve the service mesh specific tasks that they need to do.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
This is a topic of interest. We have talking about this from past as well. But one thing I think it's a visual topology that's main if every command is running, and that's is creating a visual topology. That's once you step in did, that's what happened. A part of that step is. So that's a kind of a thing you're talking about. There's somebody wrote a command and some hitting a point, some which nodes is on, how they are interacting, it's healthy, it's probes, liveliness, readiness, other probes are dying. There's a good to go steps. So I think we are talking about also a VS Code extension for that, kind of a mission for some kind of. So I think we should consider that that's a part of a roadmap as well, because I as a developer who are developing in a laptop, I need some kind of a thing that's easy to manage, some visuals diagram before getting things into the production or testing environment or any other things. So I think it's good to have that and be a part of roadmap for VS Code extension.
Yeah, the VS Code, right? It's a. I think I got excited last time you said that. We would do well to capture and articulate a few of the use cases of what we think that it could enable.
Yes. I definitely. Last time, I think when first back to 2 months old, I asked about in that call that if someone created a something, it doesn't replicate an error. It's a command that I didn't. That's expected me to do, but I didn't do that. Like in case of a student, I have an ingress controller that's I have in order to access their website from their browser, but I didn't expose that, and I think that's an error. But it's not an error. I didn't expose that, so I think it's kind of a real use cases for that. I have a very few use cases that, and I think these use cases are never replicated by any project right now. I think it's good to have if we plan that up, because a user is very happy. If I have a very good project in hand that gives some kind of a hinting, some error, I have doesn't go in the searching because this part is done by me, but I doesn't create that. Oh, I'm figuring out because this happened to me a lot when I working with the service mesh, just demoing out some kind of a thing. So I have a very really good use cases for that. I think we have probably talked about that in the past, and I'm really happy that this project is going to be happen because this is a part of a very interesting part of my interest as well.
Hello, man, yeah. I wish we. I don't even know what to say other than yeah. I totally support the idea, and it makes sense. Some of the same things that we were looking to achieve elsewhere about telling people that their configuration is not best practice. that, hey, that plugin can do something like that. That's in part what you're saying, like, hey, you intended to expose this endpoint, but you haven't yet, or this doesn't accomplish maybe what you were trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. Okay. Next up, so I think we covered Ruth. I think we got this one, or no, we didn't. Let's see.
No, that's a new issue. Okay, yeah, this is a new one.
And then did you just want to get some clarification on what the ask is?
Yes, like clarification on what I'm expecting. I want to take up this issue, so I wanted some clarification on what to do. I wasn't really getting the point.
Sure. When looking at the blog posts, if a given blog post doesn't have a feature image, doesn't have, which is to say that it doesn't have one of these defined, specific to that post, the behavior is that the feature image will default to just this logo, and that's better than not having anything. But we actually have an icon, a project icon for the landscape. And so instead of this default logo, it would be nice to use the landscape picture.
So basically, you just have to add a feature image to the blog post in the source code. Does that clear it?
Ruth, that's actually for you. It just the goal is to add this image as the feature image for that blog post.
Oh, okay. But is this image, is the other one not better? Like, this is an empty image. Like,
all right. Yeah, maybe there's an improvement to be done on just this. Like, maybe it would be better if it was presented in a more of a rectangular format with maybe a colorized background or something rather than just this. Yeah,
like a better image.
Yeah. The reason, okay, that makes sense. This logo itself is, it is the logo that, I don't know if you can see it right here. If I can, when I zoom in like this, does my screen zoomed in for you guys now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So it's the same, it's the same logo that we use to refer to that project, but.
Oh, okay. I get now. I was thinking it was a random logo.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That doesn't mean that we can't, like, format
Change the
it.
width.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Fair enough. All right. Given the time, so next one, Ruth, I think.
Yeah. So this like it's a badging project where events and project open source project gets you answer some questions, some metrics. If your project passes those metrics, you get a D&I badge. I recently started contributing to it this month. So I had a talk with one of the maintainers some hours ago, and he said they're actually looking for projects and events that would come. They would give badges, although it's still in the pilot testing phase, and they'll be starting with with events first. But I think this is something we can look into getting a badge. You can check out the metrics and everything on it. That's why I posted the GitHub repo here.
Awesome. I'm familiar with the Chaos group as well. And yeah, that's great, Ruth. I mean, either working through their badging program or participating in an event maybe that they're doing, or helping them host an event or like, yeah, I mean, their mission, we are well aligned with their mission. It's a good, yeah. So maybe we'll chat a little bit more, but I guess the quick feedback is, yeah, please carry forth or like get us engaged. Be our representative there if you would. I mean, let's do it. Maybe
Sure.
yeah. All right, and then Josh, last we're like 1 minute over, but you want to chat about this one?
Yeah, so there was a few things mentioned by Nikhil, and it was not clear in the last meeting. So if you could see below more down. Yeah, the last comments by Nikhil. Can you please scroll a few?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from here.
Yeah. Okay. Let me not hold everyone hostage, but give you some meaningful feedback a little bit later today.
No problem. We can do it in chat.
Yeah. But yeah, I get how you're sort of at a crossroads. So yeah, let me help move you along.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for today? Anybody?
Just to add, I think Anita submitted a pull request. She finally tackled the DCO issue. So she submitted a pull request last night on the Layer5 repository. If you could please check it.
Yeah. And if this is is it about the Meshri operator project?
Yeah.
Level? Nice. Yeah, I think she nailed it. Or I mean, it looks like looks like she's got the sign off going. And yeah, this description is accurate, is apt. Like this is, I think there is no critical feedback I can give here. other than like, yeah, I think she's knocked it out of the park. Do you know, so Ruth, by the way, just as we talk about welcoming newcomers and making sure that they have a smooth onboarding process and kind of this DCO, this signing of your commits, like inevitably almost snags a ton of folks, ton of people. It's a necessary item. And whenever someone we've done a lot to try to help grease the wheels there. Like anytime a person creates an issue for the first time or creates a pull request for the first time, there's a bot that puts a small message on there that says, here's links to the instructions to configure your environment. So commit signing just always happens without you even thinking about it. And still people will miss it. So anyway, if you see any spots where we can improve that, I'm all ears. Otherwise, I think what was the topic that you wanted to talk about on this PR was just to make sure that we got some eyes on it, and or is there any other?
No, that's what I was actually like talking about, like to take a look at it if it's okay since this year checked. And I just with your comment, I just noticed I have never I've never looked at what the Netify bot says actually.
Oh,
So
yeah.
your comment actually made me notice it.
Right.
So
yeah, there's the Netlify bot, and then there's one other one.
I think we should add that to the contributing guideline too. Just
Yes,
point it
because
out.
I almost didn't notice the DCO when I was making the comment. I almost didn't notice it, and I wasn't understanding the whole thing. That's why I had to like reach out to Ruth and Shruti to help me out.
Yeah, yeah. think about it, if you would. So in the contributing.md, it does talk about DCO signing like within the first couple of paragraphs or so. And then whenever a first timer creates a pull request, this bot comes in and says, thank you. And it says, but that doesn't mean that we still can't improve and like help get people. And so, yeah, think about it. I guess it's what can we do?
We can put like reminders. Always try to check the welcome bot message, like a reminder, a quote on the contributing document. Always be sure to check the bot message.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, and even in the issue templates, we have a reminder like, "Hey, did you sign your commit?" Like, and they're supposed to, check. And so, like, yeah, it's a, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Very good. We're oh my gosh, we're at time. Anybody? All right. No, good. So even if you have other things, we'll wait till next time. Nice to see everybody today. See you all in Slack. See you next week.
Yeah.
See you. Good weekend.
See you.
Nice.
See ya.
Thank you, Nina. All right.
Have a nice weekend. Bye bye. Ciao.
Well.
See you.
Bye.
I need to add to this. Bye.